and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. We got Friday, 8 games here on the main slate. It has been no shortage of news coming up throughout the day here, James. Luckily, we also got some of that news yesterday. 8 games here. DraftKings, FanDuel taking the 10 p.m. games off the slate. 9:30 game off the slate as well. So slate kicks off at 7:30 Eastern time here. Final late night hammer game, 8 o'clock. A lot of games happen in a short amount of time, so that's good for you. If you want to go to bed early knowing if you're a millionaire or not, you'll find out. Otherwise, James, we've talked back and forth how we feel about these 10 and late PM games being taken off the slate. How are you feeling about things as we've now gotten a few more slates with this format here?
I don't love or care for like big double-digit game slates, so like in that aspect, it's fine. But when there's like 5 games or 6 games and they're taking off 1 or 2 at the end of the night, I do think it still takes off some edge from when you're someone who pays attention to news and what happens. Like a lot of casual players probably either saw the Christian Wood news late or didn't, right? Because that's just a lot of people are set it and forget it DFS players. But when you're someone who does it, who lives it, who is constantly getting alerts to your phone about people that are in or out, again, it does remove some edge. So I'd rather it just always be on. I'd rather it than it 1 week or 1 day the late games are on, and the next day the late games are off. And the next day it's just an unfortunate space that we're in right now. And obviously we can't do anything about it. There hasn't been any comment about it from anywhere that I've seen, so we're just gonna keep dealing with it. But I would rather have that edge back with the late night hammer being a part of the main slate.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. Obviously, again, as we said, the smaller slates is seemingly they're willing to keep it on there. Though the larger slates, they're just taking it off. So it's something we're dealing with, but obviously, it's whatever the sites decide to go with. We're kind of suckers to them. Taking a look at the slate here tonight, obviously the big one of the day, you have Indiana, Atlanta. That is at a 252, 251.5, depending on where you're looking at. Game total last that I saw here. You also have this matchup between Sacramento and Philadelphia. A high game total, 1 point spread. No Joel Embiid, no Tyrese Halliburton. And either of those matchups, obviously big players out. How are you feeling about that tonight?
Those are definitely 2 of my favorite games. Nothing's really changed on the Indiana front. They're impossible to predict. They're impossible to project. And that's why the field has largely stayed away from them. If you look at the ownership in Indiana, It's just they're a mess because they have 12 guys that Rick Carlisle will play on a night-to-night basis. That we saw Buddy Hield not in the rotation. We saw Jordan Noir in the rotation. Andrew Nembhard's the starter, but TJ McConnell's the better player. But now he's priced 2x Andrew Nembhard, and their best scorer is now off the bench, and you don't know how many minutes he's going to play. So it's just it's kind of a nightmare situation. The Atlanta side obviously is a lot of great fantasy goodness there, but I've really focused on the Sacramento-Philly game today. No rim protection for Philly with Paul Reed, Marcus Morris, and Mo Bamba as their center rotation, and we know Sacramento is longing for anybody to play defense. They just can't defend very well. So that game should be super fun, and it's been the one that I've had my eye on the most today.
Yeah, for sure here. Any other notable news? Obviously the Miami Heat going to be without Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry tonight. Does that put you on or off Miami here today, knowing they have their matchup this evening against the Orlando Magic?
And we saw the Caleb Martin upgrade to
Martin upgraded too, exactly.
So there's intrigue. Who knows what they're going to actually do? Like, someone might operate as a point guard, but the offense is going to run through Bam Adebayo regardless. So just because someone's the point guard doesn't mean they're going to operate in any capacity like a point guard with Bam running as the hub. So There's some good value there. I see Nikola Jovic getting some ownership again. Josh Richardson should, see a larger role than he saw last game, but nothing like else like really pops. Like you're not playing RJ Hampton, you're not playing Jordan
Right.
Payne. Like those guys still don't exist in the Miami Heat ecosphere. So it's I would say there hasn't necessarily been like I guess Bojan being out would probably be like one of the bigger pieces of news.
Yeah, Beef Stew and Bojan out tonight.
Yeah, I mean that's just terrible news for Detroit because like other than Jaden Ivey, I really and to a smaller extent Alec Burks because we're just not sure how many minutes he's ever
Right.
going to play. I'm not sure how they generate offense against Houston. And I know Houston's had their deficiencies on the road and obviously not the same defensive team without Dylan Brooks and Tari Eason, but I just I mean their starting lineup includes Killian Hayes,
Right.
Isaiah Livers, and Isaiah Stewart. Like who Jalen Duren isn't operating for himself either. So like it's really going to be a heavy load on Jaden Ivey. I'm not saying that's necessarily the worst thing in the world because Jaden Ivey's played well, but the Bojan news obviously significant because you and I have talked about Houston on the road a lot this year, and they've been pretty bad. And the line didn't really move all that much either. It opened at 8. It's at 8.5. Some places that's at 9, but it's just one of those things where you look at Detroit and you just wonder how they stay competitive in this game. So, I think the Bojan downgrade from questionable to out in the middle of the day was definitely a concern if you're at all invested in that game, unless you're invested in some value in that game, which I think the Bojan news did probably open up, depending on how you view that game.
I was gonna say, are you talking like Kevin Knox? Are you talking Isaiah Livers? Like, what are you thinking here?
I mean, I'm talking about Detroit Pistons, neither of which are named Kevin Knox or Isaiah Livers, but maybe we'll get into it. There may be a Detroit Piston that you and I at one time liked a lot, and he may or may not be facing off against his twin brother.
You think they'll actually let him play tonight? Because that would be something.
We will see. But
we'll see if Oscar Thompson gets in the lineup then with this. Well, I'm dubious, but it would be nice to see if that's something that would actually happen
here.
Yeah. Guys, love you all in the chat here. Dad is in there, and I see through you popping in. JT's here as well, and then Cam the Man talking about a guy we will definitely be talking about when it comes to some value plays here tonight. Cam Whitmore spent a good amount of time talking about him on the podcast this morning, and then of course, James, you sent an article to me earlier today from a Houston Rockets beat writer suggesting some things we may begin to see in that lineup, and hopefully a lot more Cam Whitmore in our futures. Let's get into our game-by-game breakdown here. Faisal in the chat as well. What's up, guys? If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. Any comments, feel free to throw them in the chat. James and I are here to help you guys with your lineups this evening. Point guard position. Trae Young, $9,900. Lonzo. I wish it was Lonzo. LaMelo Ball expected to play. We don't know if Lonzo Ball's ever going to come back, unfortunately, but LaMelo Ball here at $9,500 expected to return to the lineup here today. I would imagine there would be some level of minutes limit here. Depends popping in. What's up, the Prince? De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey, your top 4 priced guards on tonight's slate. We talked about it this morning. We're pretty much prioritizing Maxey in this matchup against Sacramento here. Where does he rank among the rest of the group?
Number one. Yep. We've talked a lot about Maxey without Joel Embiid because that's happened a lot lately. And he went through a ringer of matchups when Embiid was first ruled out. He faced Miami, Orlando, Houston, Chicago. None of which are very fun matchups. None are pace-up spots. None are very bad. All are kind of plus defensive teams. And then, the schedule has turned, and we've seen Atlanta and Sacramento. And as last game and this game. And yet we're getting a price which I don't think is appropriately thought out because Sacramento has not defended anyone. It's a peso spot for Philly in a 240 plus total. And I'm not going to suggest a near triple double again for Tyrese Maxey, but we've seen it multiple times this year where he does have these rebounding games. He has 9+ assists in 3 straight games. Now he's up to nearly 7 on the year. And we know he's just a flat out bucket who is also contributing on the defensive end as well. So I think Tyrese Maxey is number 1 with a bullet. Your LaMelo point, Steve Clifford commented and said that there's not necessarily a limit, but it's just depending on like how many minutes he's going to play at a time. So I
in his return game, if you remember this season, his debut, they said he was going to be on a limit and he played 31.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fine, like wouldn't surprise me. Also, he's missed a month and a half. So it's like,
would you be more likely to play LaMelo Ball at $8,700 on FanDuel versus $9,500 on DraftKings? Or is this a wait and see? I mean, it is a San Antonio matchup here. Not a lot of defense is going to be played in this game.
I think it would just be hard to know that I might be passing up on like Tyrese Maxey, who might play 45 minutes tonight in a competitive game, right? Like Maxey might not come off the he's going to come off the floor, but he has a 40-minute ceiling where LaMelo does not, right? And I don't know what the discrepancy is on price from FanDuel to DraftKings for Maxey, but
yes,
I'd probably
Maxey's $9,400 over on FanDuel.
Yeah, I just played.
De'Aaron Fox $8,800 on FanDuel. He is obviously 91 on DraftKings, so a little bit cheaper over there.
It's a good price. You can obviously get to De'Aaron Fox in tournaments. He's hit a rut a little bit, and Domantas Sabonis is completely eating into everything he's doing peripherally, and so is Malik Monk to an extent as well, especially peripherally, where Malik Monk has had a bunch of high assist totals. Kevin Huerter is out. We're going to see an extension of Malik Monk again, right?
Yeah.
With Kevin Huerter off the floor, and just kind of with the way that the Kings are now operating without a like true backup point guard, and they're going to Malik Monk in that role. So I like the price on DraftKings too, 91, because we were paying near 10K earlier, and he just hit a little rut, and I'm okay just getting to Maxey for 200 more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. In the mid-tier range, we had Van Vliet this morning when we were talking about it. I don't know if that's changed much for you with the news that Bojan's not out. Again, we were hoping that if anybody was to be able to keep some offense for Detroit, it would have likely been Bojan. You have Kobe White here at 74, Devin Vassell at $7,300. Right before we went live, there was a report, I want to say it was either Legion Hoops or NBA Central, something like that said the Lakers and Hawks are discussing a DeJounte Murray deal. So we'll see, does Murray get limited? Does he get pulled in this game? Like, I'm always weary. We talk about it all the time around like the MLB trade deadline. If guys are potentially in deals, they may get pulled. Like, what's your feelings now on DeJounte Murray? Are we in a real hug watch situation here?
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get traded. He just is not defending, I think, at all. I think he just doesn't care in Atlanta right now. And I don't know if he's loved playing alongside Trey. He wouldn't be a bad fit because he's shooting the 3-ball pretty well, almost 40% this year in LA. And LA obviously needs spacing around LeBron and AD.
Well, he would definitely go there and probably be their true point guard, right? Like D'Angelo, you got to assume D'Angelo Russell gets moved in that deal, right?
Yeah. Russell's all but gone in any trade talks just with the contract situation. I mean, true point guard also just doesn't necessarily need to be a thing with LeBron, because if you're a point guard or not, like LeBron is the guy more often than not bringing the ball up. So he would definitely provide spacing that Austin Reeves is not giving them, that Russell's not giving them, that insert other player that they've tried to start or play next to AD and LeBron has not given them. So, I mean, 7,200 is a great price for DeJounte Murray. It's just, like I said, if now, like those discussions aren't like always like in discussion. Trade happens, so like he might not get traded. He might
And
not
like I
get
said, we got
traded
a couple
for
weeks till that deadline actually comes across. It is on February 8th here. So it seems like these reports are starting to come a little bit more hot and heavy. Golden State's potentially trading everybody. The Knicks, for whatever reason, are now open to moving Julius Randle.
I'm
really
skeptical.
Didn't
I
really
saw that
understand
too.
that report. Pascal Siakam's a hot name that could be next on the move in Toronto. So, I mean, this may be one of the more active NBA trade deadlines that we've seen in some time here. Other point guards, I have to get through this mid tier. You know, if by chance TJ McConnell's the one that's in the starting lineup tonight, would love it. Would willing to pay the 7K. Can't pay 7K for him if he's not starting though. It's just too much of a stretch for me.
Yeah, it's hard to get to. Like, it's just like one of those situations. He's just hard capped on minutes, and if he's not starting,
Where are
I'm with you.
you on Trey Jones tonight? You know, Podziemski, Brogdon, who didn't play last night but is in the lineup tonight. You know, Nembhard starts again. Like, where's your value guard play coming from this evening?
I mean, like the Portland guys are obviously what they are. I mean, they lost by 60
last night was
obviously.
an ugly day
I'll
for
raise my
NBA
hand.
DFS because every team basically got blown out.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks came back and made that weirdly competitive out of the sky. Because Julius Randle's third quarter, he had like 18 actual. That's the guy
they won the second half by
but
18, I think it was, and still lost the game by 4. So
yeah. Yeah, they did not guard Tim Hardaway or Kyrie Irving very well last night. Tim Hardaway at all. He just took open three.
They were like 8 for 10 on 3 to open the game. So
yes. I mean, look, Portland guards, no Shaedon Sharpe tonight. He's out. Scoot Henderson took 21 shots last night.
Did you see
31 minutes?
His stat line? The worst ever plus minus for a player that played like 30 minutes or whatever it was. He was minus 56.
Yeah, I mean,
minus 56.
It was quite bad. It was really bad that they kept him out there. It was really bad that he stayed out there. Happy to see the 31 minutes despite the blowout. So you want to get to Scoot. I can't play Brogdon right now. He just does not have a role. Even with Sharpe, he just doesn't have a role. It's just one of those situations where they're playing young guys and he's just, and this is early, but he's getting phased out already, you know, and it's only a matter of time before his name is also being floated around for trades. And like, there's plenty of teams that can use a Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench or as like a 6th man. That would be a tremendous acquisition for somebody. I can't get there. Podziemski is fine. Has not shown a ceiling in a little bit. I don't know if that is direct correlation to Golden State just deciding to move him back to the bench, but I know he started against New Orleans. That was a tough game. Probably going to start again with no Moody, no CP3.
Lowest pace team in the league,
no
the Chicago Bulls,
obviously. But it's just not a like enticing matchup. I don't really love the Trey Jones too. Like, you can get the Trey Jones.
Yeah, Trey Jones is a good play for value on FanDuel because there really isn't any value point guards over there.
I would say, like, of everyone at this tier, Malik Monk is the guy that I would most be willing to play, and is someone I'm actually playing this evening. And I made it clear in the podcast last night. I think this game is my favorite of the to target, and I posted it on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter, earlier today, and nobody's really playing anybody on this team once again. And I'm not really sure why. Malik Monk this year, sans Kevin Huerter, 1.14 fantasy points per minute, 24% usage rate, like elite numbers.
What do you feel about the pricing on FanDuel where it's $6,800?
Yeah, that's a little tough. He is someone who is really good in terms of like stat sheet stuffing. He is good defensively. He puts up good numbers. on a nightly basis where you're going to get at least one block steal. He's been really scoring the basketball at a very high level. I don't love 6,800. I'm okay getting there. I definitely like 6,200 on DraftKings.
Where does Josh Richardson fit in your plans here this evening? Likely starting at point guard tonight?
Probably. It's fine. He's given us like a ceiling of 35 fantasy points, which I'm not saying is bad at 4,700. It's good. But that's happened twice in 28 games. There was a limited Miami Heat team, and I know Tyler Hero was in that equation against Oklahoma City, but he played 21 minutes. I think he is fine. He's not really good peripherally. He's just like he's a good basketball player, not the best.
I wonder if there's just sort of like almost a necessity for him tonight, right? Just given who they're kind of down. I know they're getting Caleb Martin back, but we don't know like what limitations could be on him. Jaquez obviously will get some love. Duncan Robinson probably there as well. And I think we might get maybe a little bit more just out of pure minutes. I mean, he did have a little run here where he was pretty good. So I like the price. 4,700 is a hard price to kind of look past for me.
Yeah, I like. It's not that I don't think I think he's gonna play minutes. They're just not gonna give RJ Hampton anything really, unless they just don't have a choice, and they have a choice tonight, and Josh Richardson's available. It just where does he fit? Because whether he's their point guard or not, again, Bam is going to be operating the offense every time down the floor, and at that point, where does Josh Richardson fit? I don't think he gains that much with Miami. We'll see. 4,700 is a fine price. I'm not totally against it if he's starting. Obviously, there's some.
Moving on over to the shooting guard position here. Are we in on Desmond Bane or out on Desmond Bane?
I'm gonna be out on myself this evening.
You brought back the Bane impression, huh?
That was a good Bane.
We just lost 3 viewers.
Honestly,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
We just gained, and I just watched us gain 2 more because I heard there was Bane impressions going on.
All right, so Bane's there, obviously.
It was
Bane's playing by himself. Gets the Clippers in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm out. Right. I'm not going to go there. 9,100 against the Clippers.
Paul George, $8,200 here. Levine, 74. Vassell on the front end of a back-to-back at 73.
Yeah, I mean, if that game stays competitive, PG's been playing really well of late. Has ran into a couple random blowouts of late, or he'd have 5 straight games of 40+ fantasy points. In the Phoenix game and the New Orleans game, just blowouts where he has to play. He plays low 30s minutes, but there's a guy playing upper 30s minutes in Paul George, shooting guard, small forward. He's been super good. Also, I know you see the chat right now. Everyone loves the Bane impression, so except you. So the fun police is here, John, and everyone loves it. So you know what? You lose this round, sir. Just saying, the people love the Bane. What are you gonna say? Levine is interesting because the Bulls, and I'm updating the ownership right now on fantasyalarm.com, but there's definitely a lot of intrigue on the Bulls tonight, and it's a good pace environment for the Bulls. It's the price for everybody.
In the playbook, I just wrote Bulls in the mid-tier because they're all under 8,000.
I saw that. I liked it. I liked how you just said Bulls because it's true. It's just one of those things where Golden State's struggling. They are not defending anybody. There's turmoil internally. When your best player says that things have to change, when there's reports that the entire team is up for sale, essentially, other than Steph Curry, how much that's a lot of pressure on everybody else, So I like Levine, especially from what we saw last game. The rebounds, aberration, assists, kind of aberration, but we got the shot attempts again. We got the made threes again. So 7,400. Like, how would you rank the
Yes,
Bulls?
I did. I actually had
We
them
didn't even
listed
talk
as
about.
I ranked them in the playbook. I had Vucevic as one, just to match up against the Golden State front court. I think is just too elite. I have Levine second because I think he's going to probably lead the team in shot attempts. I have DeRozan ahead of Kobe White, which I think can certainly be debated. Kobe White's been far better in terms of consistent production, but he's
Yep.
more expensive. You're just getting a really good price tag on DeMar DeRozan at $7,100 there. So that's how I had him ranked: Vucevic, Levine, DeRozan, and Kobe White.
That's probably how I'd rank them too. I like the double aspect of Vooch the most. Probably that's how
Yep. So that's
I
kind of
lean
where
as well.
I'm at with it. Other guys in down here as we get below into the 6K range, it's pick your pacer, right? Like we have Ben Matherin who played 29 minutes, 28 minutes. The minutes have certainly been on the rise, double-digit shot attempts, getting to the free throw line. Like he's been good, but we need this to pay off this. We can't really get this or this or this.
Yep.
So it's a great spot. 252 total. They need his scoring in this game. We cannot
Yes.
at all trust that Carlisle will actually give us him consistently. You said himself, he played 11 minutes in the first half last game. Why? For what? What are we doing? So
None.
I
No
like
reason.
Matherin in tournaments here today. I think there's some potential upside for him there. But if you want maybe some safer plays, yeah, Oubre, Melton, Bogdan's here. Monk, as you mentioned earlier, is there. Jalen Green is 6K. So there's certainly some other options in the same price tag, but Matherin's also given us 50 fantasy points a couple times this year. So
I mean, the 11 minutes didn't make sense. The scoring being where it was impressive considering he went 4 of 13 from the floor. And that was what he did last year, where he had bad shooting nights and he got to the foul line, which you'd love to see. He had been shooting the three ball really well going into that game, too. Only took one of them. So I feel like that will be on the rise a little bit. I like him coming off the bench, to be honest, John, because he gets to play with TJ McConnell. And that's a good thing for
right.
for McConnell teammates. Because TJ is such a willing and great passer. So, yeah, I mean, I think Matherin is definitely in play. I think Jaden Ivey is definitely in play at 69. If you think at all that game can stay competitive, he is literally going to be the reason why. He is like the Pistons starting lineup tonight is legitimately going to be Killian Hayes, can't score, Jaden Ivey, Isaiahs, Livers and Stewart, and Jalen Duren, who is very good on the offensive glass and he's very
What
good
does
as
he
a
do
pick and
against
roll partner.
Şengün
But like,
tonight? Is like the
right.
right.
And he's foul happy. So like, is Jalen Duren even going to be on the floor for an
Right.
extended period of time? If Detroit is going to stay in this game, it is in the hands of Jaden Ivey. So if you think that they can, because Houston has been a terrible road team this year, and I think that all you need to see is that the line only moved half a point when
Right.
Bojan Bogdanovic was rolled out, which is kind of a significant number, right? Because like you take the two best scorers on a team off, and it's like, oh well, no way that the historically bad team's only 8.5 point underdogs against a Western Conference playoff team, right? Right? Well, that's where we are. So maybe Jaden Ivey. A lot of the field's getting to Jalen Green though here, John. Seems like everyone's getting to Jalen Green. I said it to you, I think on the show. Jalen Green has a little, I don't know if it's beef, but he did not like going second in the draft
Right.
behind Cade Cunningham a few years back, and he had some choice words to say about the Pistons not taking him number one. So for what that's worth, but the minutes have been pretty secure after a very rocky couple week stretch where he just
Yeah, we
wasn't
talked about it. I
playing.
mean, it's the
But
usage rate he has with Dylan Brooks off the floor. It's pretty legit. It's just the matchups that these they're finding themselves in, and then all of a sudden, like you have Fred VanVleet like going back and giving you 50 fantasy points, and it's like, all right, well, if VanVleet's going to do that, it's going to obviously take away from somebody. It doesn't seem like Şengün's someone that ever really gets impacted by anything here. So Jalen Green kind of takes the hit, but $6,000. I mean, that's cheaper than all year. So
yes,
I'm with you there. You just obviously have to worry about the blow. Was that 15.5 point spread? I think it was. So
it's only
9.
nine. Only eight.
What did
It's
I
only
see? That was
8.5.
15.5 today.
The
Minnesota
Portland
Okay.
game.
For some reason, I was thinking that was the game. All right. Well,
Dude,
yeah.
that's why I'm
Well,
that. But that isn't that.
yeah. I don't
That's
know.
what we're
They're such a
talking.
bad team. They're such a bad.
No, they're historically bad, which is so weird when you think no Kate, no Bojan, but Houston again, like 3-13 this year on the road, and they play more minutes on the road. Their starters, they just seemingly can't find ways to win. So it is just it was interesting to see a game that opened at 8 with Bojan still in only moved to 8.5 when Bojan was rolled out. Nothing else happened. Isaiah Stewart didn't move the needle there. So just saying, like it's weird to see that line the way it is, and all the pieces in that game, are priced pretty fairly.
Where else are we going to shooting guard here today?
I like Bruce Brown at 56. I feel pretty good about his role increasing 20 to 27 minutes in the last game. I don't love that it was only 27 minutes considering how well he played, but shooting guard, small forward, he operated more as the point guard than Andrew Nembhard did. 16, 9, and 6 for Bruce Brown. He is a very good stat sheet stuffer. That would probably be like the one pacer I'm like pretty comfortable getting to. Just because we don't know like what the roles are of really anybody, but anytime Bruce Brown's played, he's started, right? He's basically been the one guy that we've been counted on to play minutes, and then everyone else is like scattered between 18 to 33.
Yeah, and he only played 27 minutes last game himself. So it's like even when he's in the rotation, you don't know where those minutes are always going to come from because we don't know what Carlisle's going to do on a night-to-night basis, who's going to be in or out. So,
good old mad
scientist. He is a mad scientist. Duncan Robinson, Luke Kennard down here, as well as some value shooting guards. Alec Burks, give or take, if you think Detroit's going to hang in that game, he's probably going to be someone that goes in, get involved. Other guys down here in this 5K-ish and below range?
I do like Duncan Robinson. I like that shout quite a bit. He's been handling the ball more. Obviously, we have seen Duncan Robinson has one of the lowest floors of all time. Like, dude, he has an incredibly low floor. He also, when he's making threes and now currently taking defenders off the bounce and scoring at the rim, like he also has a high ceiling. So I like Duncan Robinson at 49. Orlando has definitely not been all that good of late. After that really hot start, they've kind of scuffled 1-4 their last 5 games. So I like Duncan Robinson. I'm like good with Luke Kennard. I've been telling you this whole time, like there's been a minutes limit and it's steadily increasing, but I don't, what do we get with Ja out and what do we get with Bismack out? And I don't know, like, if the Aldama out, like I don't know what the extension is, and now Marcus Smart, obviously, like I don't know what he's extended to 24.
Yeah, we got 27 and 32
like,
minutes. Obviously back in November, so we've seen a ceiling out of him for minutes.
But that was pre-injury.
No, I understand that, but he's come back now, played 4 or 5 games. I mean, if we do get a removal of the ceiling of any sort of limit here, we know at least what we could get out of him now that they're down those guys, because they were down those guys then as well. So, and it is a good $4,800 price tag, and it's the Clippers matchup for him here. Anybody else down here for value shooting guards?
I don't think so. Like NAW, if he starts, is like last piece in. I could see a scenario where like Conchar starts at point guard as like the point guard for Memphis, and he's just like it's lineup filler for Memphis. And we saw him play 25 minutes last game against Dallas, maybe at 4K, but nothing really stands out.
Haley in here asking about Fred VanVleet. We're fine with him. Again, it's more so, if you think that he's going to get the full run, we talked about it on the show this morning. If you look at the home road splits, there's a reason why Fred VanVleet's played more minutes on the road than at home per game this year. And to James's points, because Houston generally doesn't blow teams out, or hasn't necessarily blown teams out when they've been on the road. It's meant more competitive games. And when we get more competitive games, we're getting more minutes out of Fred VanVleet. The back-to-back 50 burgers and the fact that they go ahead and now face Detroit obviously would lend towards a potential ceiling matchup for Fred VanVleet here. And then Cam the Man popping in, Josh Richardson, Sabonis, or Bam, Jalen Green. We had to pick one here.
So like I want Sabonis in my lineup, but I like that second pairing, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, obviously the ceiling for player 2 is higher seemingly than the ceiling for player
yeah,
there in that combo. Sabonis versus Bam. Sabonis is certainly the way we're leaning tonight. But Bam certainly, has given us a 70 fantasy point game sort of in his own right there. We did just get the Houston Rockets starting lineup. It does still have Jae'Sean Tate. So sadly, one of our favorite value plays not starting, but that does not mean he is not part of our favorite core value plays tonight anyways. Let's get on to the small forward position here. Kawhi Leonard, Toby Harris, DeMar DeRozan, guys we haven't yet discussed already.
Sorry for the loud clap, everybody. But that's just me. That's just my emotions getting the best of me for my boy Cam Whitmore. Free Cam Whitmore. Hashtag. Get it out there, everybody, right now. I don't even know what the question was.
Yeah, we're on small forward.
I'll
just simply ask if you like Kawhi here. Do you like we talked exactly between Tobias Harris, DeMar DeRozan. Yes, Cam Whitmore is still going to be in our lineups tonight. That it doesn't matter if he's starting or not. If anything, probably better that he's not starting, right? Like, have him come off the bench, have him be that Tari Eason role where he closes the fourth in overtime over guys like Jae'Sean Tate, like we've seen in the past. Still works for us here.
And the article that you teased that I sent you, they just kind of talked about like him getting more run anyway. Like it was not just like, oh, there might be a lineup, like they might do a lineup change. He might start the second half, right? Jeff Green started the second half last game. So who knows? Maybe Whitmore starts the second half. And if this game blows out, John, we know Whitmore getting the blowout run too. So in terms of the top tier small forward, like Kawhi and Paul George, I feel pretty similarly about. Like they're both really high ceiling players. I'm just like a little weary on Memphis in general. Like if Bane or Jaren Jackson has a bad game, can they keep that game competitive with how well the Clippers have played of late? But if that game is competitive, like obviously there's 50 plus fantasy point ceilings for both. We talked Levine, obviously we like him. You and I talked like pretty extensively about Tobias Harris this morning, and then we cover boyed him for the show too. It's like you just kind of forget about Tobias Harris because the last few years he's been the fourth option. Like last year was the Tyrese Maxey leap, and James Harden was still in the fold, right? And Embiid won his MVP. So Tobias Harris is just kind of like, hey guys, like don't forget that I can score 20 a night when called upon too. And without Joel Embiid, he's been really, really, really good. And I fully expect that to be the case here. Now, there's probably a case to be made where he does see the Keegan Murray matchup, which is the only good defender that, I mean, Chris Duarte does too, but Chris Duarte is going to definitely guard Tyrese Maxey. Keegan Murray's probably guarding Tobias Harris. Keegan Murray's a big dude. He's 6'10", right? That's like a not the easiest matchup for some people, but sometimes we just overstate matchups individually. Tobias Harris sees a 4% usage rate without Joel Embiid. He has near 24.5% usage rate overall, over a fantasy point per minute. So I really like getting to Tobias Harris here. We had a comment earlier, I think it was from Cam about Sabonis Maxey stack. Like it was from Cam about not being popular. And it's like, because there isn't a lot of like elite value, John, as you know, like doing the playbook today, like there wasn't any like Jaden Hardy's from yesterday, right? Or like Dallas in general yesterday, where it's pricey. Like I have built that way today with Maxey and Sabonis, but I'm obviously using someone like Cam Whitmore, who the field really isn't, and using some value plays that the field really isn't. If you can't get to, and as John just drops the playbook link there in the chat, if you guys want to head over to fantasyalarm.com and check out his great work from today. But if you can't get to Maxey, I'm good with getting to Tobias Harris. As we've seen Tobias Harris go for 50 plus on multiple occasions without Embiid this year. Even with Embiid. Remember that first half with Embiid where he scored like 27 actually? I remember you messaging me. You're like, dude, what a world that Tobias Harris, because it was the chalk Embiid night that you and I were like, and Embiid had a terrible first half and still had 70 fantasy
Yeah, I
points.
think it was this one, right? Against Toronto?
It was the Toronto game where Embiid got hurt, had a terrible first half, and Toby just went nuclear. And you were like, what is happening? Why is Tobias Harris Joel Embiid tonight? And then obviously Embiid still had 70, and we were all happy. Yay. But it's in the bag for Toby. And the price tag and the matchup is obviously elite as well.
Yeah, 100%. And again, as I mentioned, DeRozan is there. I'm fine going DeRozan if you want at 71. There's certainly a ceiling there. He's kind of underpriced at this spot. It's just the Golden State hasn't been all that competitive. Oubre has been getting the minutes, but obviously production's kind of wavered. Jaime Jaquez, is he impacted all by for you with Caleb Martin returning?
I don't think so because Jaquez has been playing pretty big minutes, like even when Jimmy Butler returns. It's just like we said it yesterday. As long as Bam is there, I don't know what the ceiling is for Jaquez. I feel pretty good about the minutes being still secure. He's someone that can operate with the ball as well. Like he's a big dude, but he's very comfortable operating as like their lead ball handler. So it's safe. There's no hero. There's no Butler. I guess like, would you rather in this question, if you're playing Heat outside, like you'd remove Bam, right? Or would you rather play Jaquez or like to your point earlier, would you rather just take the savings on like a Richardson or a Duncan Robinson or a Jovic that we're going to talk about, right? Because it's like those guys have all shown kind of higher ceilings than or similar ceilings to Jaquez, and they're all $1,000 cheaper or more.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson obviously will take the shots, right?
Right.
You got to think he'd be the guy that would lead that group in shot attempts here tonight, and obviously the majority of them will come from 3-point range. Jaquez is a really good shot of, just filling out the stat sheet. And obviously you can accumulate fantasy points just simply by doing that. You don't need to go off and go nuclear in any one particular spot. I would probably still play Jaquez for the minute ceiling there. But there's definitely some conversation to be had now that Hero and Butler are both out of the lineup there tonight for sure. It's also not like the best matchup. I mean, Orlando's, they're okay. They don't really play all that fast. They've been better defensively at times this year. They might have Wendell Carter Jr. back. I know they're still without Franz Wagner, but that's a big loss for them. But tough overall spot. Some other values.
They're third defensively still this year in the NBA. So like that's that speaks for itself. Kind of like that's just an objectively good defensive unit.
Some other small forwards as we work our way down this list here. Norm Powell's there. Caleb Houston at $4,800. Getting Williams guys both here. Cam Whitmore's up to $4,300 now, but still one of our favorite values of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that he did last game spoke to what he can do, obviously, offensively for this team, and what he just does better than the other options they have without Dillon Brooks and Tari Eason. Like, Jayshawn Tate is a zero offensively. He's good defensively, but he's also very foul happy at times. Jeff Green is what Jeff Green is at this point. How many years in the league? I'm actually surprised Jeff Green isn't the oldest player in the NBA. He's been in the NBA for so long, right? Like Jeff Green was supposed to be, you've talked about it a couple times, like the next LeBron, and then he had open heart surgery, and like we've been through a massive cycle with Jeff Green. And then there's so like Whitmore is in the rotation to begin with, and then you factor in, well, he's playing extremely well offensively. We have 5 straight games of double-digit scoring, 7 of his last 8 overall double-digit scoring. And then it's like, well, if this game does get out of hand, because how can Detroit actually keep it competitive? There's no way this man isn't on the floor. Like you're getting him and Amen Thompson as much run as possible in that scenario, because those are your both first-round draft picks this year. Like Cam Whitmore fell to pick 20, was supposed to be a lotto pick, but there was like, and also shout out, look at this. We got more Bane lovers coming into the chat here. Shout out to you, Dwayne. I appreciate the support, but don't play me tonight because I don't think we're going to be very competitive. Thank you. That's all I got. But yeah, back Cam Whitmore. What, dude?
Yeah, you got it.
What?
No, I got nothing to say.
The
I
people,
was
the people are
clearly wrong. Clearly, I was wrong.
the people are speaking, John. Okay, the people are speaking here. That's all I got. I love Cam Whitmore. The Memphis guys are all like in play as
Sure.
value options, I would say. I'm updating just officially submitted the ownership update to fantasyalarm.com just now. So let's see if any other small forwards are popping right now. DeRozan, John, Cam Whitmore, number 2. Tobias Caruso here. I actually had I saw that earlier today, $4,800.
Yeah, I still don't really understand it, but okay.
He's not. I mean, he's just playing big minutes. They want him to. They
Cover
want him.
Steph.
Yeah, he's going to stay in the starting lineup. He's going to play 30 minutes. Yeah, he's been pretty good peripherally. And we've talked. Bulls are all underpriced, I think, today.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Power forward. Banchero is obviously a favorite play of mine today. Him and Wembanyama. Wembanyama is actually covered with the playbook. I know that's a little bit risky here with the given the minutes limit that he tends to be on. But in 21 minutes, he went for 50. In 25 minutes, he went for 54. In 26 minutes, he went for 50. He also has a game down here where he went for, or where was it? 59 in 25 minutes. So, yes, he is very capable of absolutely destroying a slate in limited playing time here. And it's the Charlotte Hornets. So, a team that's a bonus just nearly triple doubles against in limited playing time. So, I think Wemby's in a great spot tonight to just explode in the limited time that he has there. Playing the front end of a back-to-back. He's not playing the second leg here. So maybe, fingers crossed, there's some level of extension on those minutes here, but we haven't gotten any sort of announcement. We'll never know it, Pop. But you got him and Banchero at the top. Bridges is $8,200. Jalen Johnson, who's a big fan. We're a big fan of his on this show. If you read my Underdog Fantasy Pick'em article today, I actually got a little spicy with it. I say spicy on purpose because I took 2 plays that are boosted over on Underdog Fantasy today. Jalen Johnson double-double 1.25x.
Ooh.
Was one of those 2. We'll talk about the other one in a moment because that one's even spicier. But Jalen Johnson at $7,200 is, man's got double-doubles 4 in the last 6 games here.
You went a center triple-double, didn't you?
Certainly did.
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah, and I don't think the double-doubles are going to slow up. Obviously, he's been super elite scoring the basketball. And I've said it a couple times. He has had more rebound opportunities per game since returning from the fracture of the hand than Clint Capella has in games that they've shared the floor. So that just goes to show you there's 40-minute upside for Jalen Johnson. There's not 40-minute upside for Clint Capella. So we're getting like extended run of like Ngannou, who's good, obviously, but like Jalen Johnson's just the best rebounder they have right now and is showing it. So I love that. And, no one's really getting to him tonight. And I think people might be scared away from the price. It's one of those things like sometimes sticker shock comes into play in DFS, despite the fact that, he's been super elite. And Cam just mentioned it. Gobert, questionable.
Yep.
Aaron Nesmith, also questionable. I don't remember. I guess he was on the injury report.
Yeah,
him and Jalen Smith. So we don't know the statuses of either of those guys. So there's some obvious value that could open up in Indiana there too.
Yeah, Obi Toppin could start and not have much behind him in that game. Mentioned Jordan Nwora obviously played the other day. He would be open to some increased minutes in this one as well. So, but yeah, Jalen Johnson obviously a really strong play here. And then I really didn't have a lot of other like mid-tier likes. I don't know if you feel differently, but once I got past Banchero, Wembanyama, and Jalen Johnson, we talked about Jaquez already. There is Jabari Smith if you really want to keep investing in Houston versus Detroit here. Obviously, if the Capella gets ruled out, Ngannou is a good play. Obviously, if Rudy Gobert gets ruled out, Naz Reid is a good play here as well. Sadiq Bey at $5,500 is a favorite play of mine here. And then if Wendell Carter doesn't play, I don't mind Mo Wagner at 54.
Yeah, the only other name I would mention from that crew would be Keegan Murray. who's been really good scoring the basketball of late. 18 plus in 4 of his last 5, 38 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5. I can't get enough of this game. So he's unfortunately missed out on some like minutes because of blowouts of late, but like had 40 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Is a guy who in competitive games you're seeing 35, 36, 37 minutes. So the 4th overall pick from last year starting to come back and look like the guy he was last year. So salute to Keegan Murray. That would be the other guy I mentioned in that tier.
Yeah, agreed. There really wasn't a ton of like value power forwards. We talked Jovic. He's maybe it. Toppin would be the other one. I want to see a starting line though for Miami. What if they start Caleb Martin at power forward tonight, right? And Jovic's off the bench here. They have Highsmith still, right? Who played a bunch of minutes. Duncan Robinson might start. I don't know what this lineup's going to look like. So hard to figure out where we're going to go here.
If I had a guess, it's Bam. And then question mark.
Yeah, Richard. Question mark. Richardson.
I would say Jovic probably keeps starting, but who knows? He's been really good. 3 of his last 4 games with 30 plus fantasy points. So if he's starting, I'm good getting there. And obviously, like the Indiana news does a lot for us too because Toppin is a plug and play if both Jalen Smith and Nesmith are ruled out. And there is probably some appeal to a Jordan Nwora at 3,200. He played 17 minutes in a competitive game last time out. He is a bucket, and they're looking for offense, obviously, without Tyrese Halliburton. So I'm not saying Jordan Nwora would be, and Osor is, I think, a wee bit interesting here.
It's crazy how this guy started his season. All these fantasy production games, 40s, 30s, even a 50 mixed in there, and now he doesn't play. So
doesn't play.
I don't know. Monty Williams, man, gotta get in with it. So
yeah, I think
Isaiah Jackson asked Justin here. Isaiah Jackson's a good backup here. If Jalen Smith is out, I'll feel a lot better about it.
Correct.
Otherwise, they could easily just play Jalen Smith as a backup 5 in this situation. And freeze out Isaiah Jackson. You also have to understand that even when Isaiah Jackson is the primary backup, 18 minutes, like he doesn't generally get a ton of playing time. Sometimes that's due to his own doing as well. He just fouls himself out. But obviously super high fantasy point per minute player, as is Isaiah Jackson. Center, we have Sabonis. You alluded to it before. I did put Sabonis in the Underdog article that I did. His triple-double was 2.25x. So we took it. If you do the 2-pick play that I put in the Underdog article today of Jalen Johnson over his half double-double and Sabonis, his triple-double, those 2 picks is 8.25x return value. Usually, you get 3x return on a 2-pick. You're getting 8x return on the 2-pick today if you go throw the Jalen Johnson Sabonis double-double, triple-double combo play there today. Again, he is second in the NBA in triple doubles this year, only 2 behind Nikola Jokic. And as you can see here, he has 3 triple doubles over his last 5, 4 over his last 7. Man is rolling right now, and he's got a great game, high scoring total, 1 point spread against Philly, no Joel Embiid. A lot of things potentially moving in the right direction here for a Sabonis triple dub tonight.
Dude, he probably goes 5 in a row. But he plays 29 and 28 minutes in the 2 games because they're blowouts.
Right?
Especially with the way that Monk is shooting, with Keegan Murray shooting. He has De'Aaron Fox to play off. The Kings have an elite offense. They just can't defend anybody. And it's because this guy is their hub and everything runs through Charmeleon here. And if you don't know that reference, they have said Jokic is Charizard, Sabonis is Charmeleon, and Şengün is Charmander. And I love that for all those Pokemon fans out there, because that is good. It's very good. But Charmeleon out there, catching Charizard this year, triple doubles, John.
Mm-hmm. So he's obviously an elite play. We have Bam at $8,800. I definitely like that spot for him just in general here. Şengün against Detroit again, great spot. Jalen Duran, not a great defensive player here. Mid-tier, I just plugged in Vucevic, $7,300. If you wanted to go Duran because of the lack of other options, or Turner because you like the matchup, sure. Vucevic for me is my number 1 in that group, though.
He is number one with a bullet. I don't really have anything to add. He's been super good since returning, walking double-double when he gets you 30 minutes. And he's good peripheral. He's a very good passer out of the post. And as long as the Bulls are going to continue to make shots, he's going to continue to rack up assists. And we know the rebounds and the points will be there as well.
Yep. As we mentioned already, if guys are out, there's value, obviously, at Agonku and Nas Reed. Nick Richards is just at $5,700 is probably a fine plug if you're looking to go there for the minutes. If Wendell Carter gets ruled out again, I still lean Wagner over Goga, but both are going to be in play here. Do you find yourself getting to Tillman at all at 5,200?
He's so small, and like Zubats is not. It's not like a great spot. I'm okay with it. Like it's good value. I feel like there's always a chance with Memphis that they could just elect in certain spots to go Jaren Jackson at the 5, and that's always a worry. But with the lack of people, able bodies that they actually have and want to play, you can reasonably get to Tillman. It's fine. I assume Duarte is starting. We haven't. I don't think we had an official lineup yet, but he starts basically every time. I mean, he replaced Herter in the starting lineup when they made that lineup change, and also when he's been hurt, he's starting too. So
yeah, 100%.
I assume maybe they make but I feel like Malik Monk just makes sense off the bench because that's again who they're using now as their backup point guard. So.
Any interest in like Jackson Davis or anybody?
No. Jovic, Toppin, we got 2 guys we already mentioned. Isaiah Jackson, 3rd guy we already mentioned. I think, and I do have like a little bit of interest in Trey Lyles.
Oh, I thought we were going to Dominic Barlow.
He is a very good fantasy point per minute guy.
Dominic Barlow.
Tomorrow's the Dominic Barlow day, John. Don't get ahead of ourselves because no Wemby. He's gonna
tomorrow. He's gonna be $5,500 though.
I know
on a back-to-back.
That's fair. That's very fair. I'm not against Barlow, especially like they just kind of split, right? If Wemby does hard cap 24, we're getting 24 from Barlow. Like they're not playing Mamu. I told you in the Milwaukee game they put Mamu in the game and they targeted him like 4 straight times and they were just like, all right, we gotta get this guy off the floor. He can't guard anybody. So yeah, Barlow's fine. In the same like Trey Lyles, I think is fine. That he's a guy that they've been extending a little bit more and more lately, and that's largely due to Harrison Barnes being pretty bad late. Like he has not really been as good as he's been in years past. So maybe some Trey Lyles.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't have the starting lineup yet for Sacramento here, James. And again, this is a 7:30 roster lock time, so they don't have to let us know starting lineups until 7 for that game. So we do have a little bit more time to go here, but obviously more of a reason to turn on your notifications if you're not already in the Fantasy Alarm Discord. We have the NBA lineups channel, so whenever a lineup goes live, we have that automatically posted into our Discord. So again, if you haven't already joined the Fantasy Alarm Discord, we have some free channels. Of course, we have the premium Discord channels where if you're a paying Fantasy Alarm subscriber, you have access to those premium channels where myself, James Grande, Sean Mitchell, the NBA DFS crew are in there talking shop with you guys all day long. I throw that Discord link in our chat right here. So again, this is our free Discord. If you upgrade your account to become a Fantasy Alarm member, you'll get upgraded access in that Discord to allow yourself to become a Fantasy Alarm member and get the premium channels. But the NBA lineups channel is free. So if you want to just join, you can go ahead and do that. Scan the QR code there. If you do want to join the Fantasy Alarm family, you can save 40% off the annual subscription package there. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win, or it's about $40 a month for access to all sports, not just NBA, but NHL, MMA, PGA, NASCAR. The Fantasy Baseball Draft Guide is going to be released within the coming weeks here, so you'll get access to that as well. So if you've been waiting for a time to become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, right now is that time. So check out the QR code there, or go to fantasyalarm.com/win to sign up today. James, let's get a lineup build going. You mentioned you like plugging in Sabonis Maxey here today, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, is it comfortably built, right? Like, is it a lineup that we're comfortable with? Because it's Maxey, it's Sabonis, and then you're plugging Whitmore, essentially, and then, like, going from there.
Can we get Jalen Johnson in this lineup?
Probably
47. Let's see.
Probably.
I mean, I know how we can get to it. I know how we can get there.
Yeah, with Mr. Barlow. Yeah.
And Mr. Barlow.
Carter.
Carter ruled out tonight. So if you did like Mo Wagner, you could certainly plug him in at the forward spot here.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, like, I like the Wagner Goga pairing when there's not a carousel of 3, right? This ride only fits 2, thankfully. And Wendell Carter's ruled out. And now we don't have to worry about like who's getting iced, who's playing the minutes, who's not. Like, this is going to be a 48-minute split.
Would you rather Bruce Brown at 56 or go Duncan Robinson, then go up from Barlow to somebody?
I don't even know who you'd go. The problem is I don't know who you'd go up to.
Let's see.
You could try it.
Give us 46 util. 46 util somebody here. Zaire.
Would you? I feel like Barlow is a better fantasy point per minute guy, right? Than like Zaire, and like he's also cheaper.
Go back to Bruce Brown then.
Probably
Sadiq Bey, Bruce Brown.
Yeah, one of those two. I think Bruce Brown probably has a better ceiling than Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey probably a little safer.
Sure. So there's an example lineup for everybody. If you want to get the Maxey Sabonis stack here, Maxey, Richardson, Whitmore, Jalen Johnson, Sabonis, Kennard, Bruce Brown, and Barlow, again, as a punt center option. Playbook's out and updated. Obviously, if any more news comes down, we'll have that adjusted for all of you there. Good luck this weekend. Remember, tune in tomorrow. We'll have the full playbook coverage for all of you to get you ready for the Saturday slate. We'll be back live 5 o'clock Eastern time for the Monday stream there. So any parting words here, Grande?
No, everyone have a great weekend. Stay safe. Let's watch some basketball. Let's win some money. All that good stuff.
Amen. Everybody, we'll talk to you later.